It's a really nice afternoon right now. It was usually snowing for the past few days, and I didn't think we'd be getting good weather, and then it started warming up again, and I thought it would only last like a bit, but turns out it's still sticking around, so I'm making the best of it while I can, and going outside where it's especially nice, and I like the air here nearby the river. Swans over there, and there's a couple of geese doing their thing. Well, more than a couple. There's some in the water too, and boat. It's nice. Things have been surprisingly calm. You might not assume as much considering everything else, but even while I'm looking over my shoulder sometimes, it's calm. I had a interesting conversation with it the other day. Power went out, and it wasn't anything like a breaker issue or anything. We just had to wait a while, and we got to talking. It doesn't talk a lot until it wants to. That is, it just doesn't talk often, I should say. But when it's going, it's really going. And one time, or rather during that whole period of the power being out, I was bored, and it seemed like it was bored, so I felt brave, I guess you can call it, and tried teaching it rock, paper, scissors. Because, it's a weird little game, and I don't really think you can really get bored of it that easily. At least, pass maybe a half hour with it. And what ended up happening was when I explained how to play it, I thought it would be as simple as that, and then it would just be, just throwing rock, paper, scissors over and over for the next, half hour or so, but instead, it started talking about how it felt about the game. Talking about how it didn't really understand how the rules worked, which in my mind I was like, I thought it was simple enough, but it elaborated on how paper gets destroyed by scissors, and scissors gets destroyed by rock. But when rock loses, it doesn't get destroyed, it just gets covered by paper. And I was like, yeah, well, what's wrong with that? And they went, well, that's not fair, that's cheating. Which was funny to hear. So what it meant, it's like, well, the other outcome seemed like the win conditions seemed to be, something has to be destroyed, but when paper wins against rock, nothing's destroyed, And I went, okay, well, interesting, but that's just how the rules work. And then it went on to kind of think about it more rather than playing. We didn't even do a single round of it yet. And it was going on about how you shouldn't trust anyone that picks scissors first. And I was like, well, that's interesting. Why is that? And it said that if scissors wins, it destroys the paper. And if it loses, it gets destroyed by the rock. So either way, you're causing a problem. Which It was a weird way of looking at it, but I rolled with it. I was like, okay, go on. So I came to a conclusion that rock was the best option, because when its win condition doesn't involve being hurt, it involves something else being hurt. Its lose condition doesn't destroy anything. It doesn't destroy itself or whatever. It's technically a win-win, because, you know, all that happens, it gets covered by paper. That's nothing. And I was like, that's neat. You want to play a game? And they went, yeah, we'll finally get to playing one. They picked rock, and I picked paper. And they asked why I picked paper. And I told them, well, I was hoping you weren't going to pick scissors, considering what you said. And it seemed like you were someone who prefers rock. And then they said, I guess that's one less problem.